So we saw what happened in the past week when the president banned Twitter just because they took down a tweet where he was literally threatening a repeat of what happened in the 60s and 70s that tore Nigeria apart. And now he has decided to ban Twitter and take food out of the mouths of a lot of Nigerians. So what do you think about it, Don Ralph?
First of all, does he even know if he took food out of table? For him, he just banned Twitter. It's an app that deleted his tweets. Who is Twitter? To delete a whole President Buhari's tweet. Who is Twitter?
Well, they're an app that has rules, so I guess anybody who signs up on stuff like that should know that they have rules of engagement. But in general, do you think that we are bound by any kind of law to obey such an edict from the president, Father?
Now, I have looked at the whole situation myself, and I've asked myself 1,000 times, um, does anybody have a right to deprive another person of the freedom of speech, especially where there was no infringement? There's no infringement on the part of the citizens. It is the president himself who is guilty of infringing on what you call proper speech. And he, of course, people reacted to that tweet. I guess a lot of people reacted to the tweet that made the owners of the app, to delete it. To say this is not something that you should be saying because you are inciting people, you are inciting one race against the other. And sometimes I wonder the kind of country we live in because you expect people to be human, to say, okay, I have done something wrong, I should come forward and make a public apology. If you ask me, the president should be tendering a public apology to Nigerians. These are people who have been injured, people who are constantly being berated with all kinds of bad examples and bad experiences. It's not just enough that these people are suffering, they are still made to suffer further for something that is clearly not their fault. So I think there's a lot that is on the table, but it's just that we are focusing on something else. We are focusing on the fact that somebody is asking us to forfeit our right to free speech. I think we should be telling him, young man, you owe us an unconditional apology, first of all. Secondly, that is not even a demand. You should just quickly reinstate that app. As simple as that, yes. Yes. In a place where people think normally this should be the way, but Nigeria.
Well, Nigeria is not a place where people think normally, unfortunately. And even though we are trying our best to make sure that the paradigm shifts back to how it's supposed to be, but we keep getting all of these, should I say, hiccups and obstacles in our way. So, as someone who actually actively uses social media both for personal use and for business, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think it's actually going to, be a problem for Nigerians going forward, Donra?
It depends on, actually, okay, I'm going to answer this question this way. It depends on who is answering this question and who is biting more. So for the politicians and for people who are with this regime, it's a good thing because it stops terrorism. It stops the whole back and forth against the government and also gives them the ability to control what people put out there about them. So for them, it's a good thing. But for us, the citizens, the general people, the people on the street, is actually a bad thing because we can't really, say anything that the government does wrong. There's nowhere to voice it anymore that people can actually see this and make it trend. And also for, like you said earlier, the businesses. A lot of business are on Twitter. A lot of business depend on Twitter. Even the radio stations depend on Twitter, yeah, for communication and all. So it affects a whole lot. But it's Nigeria, Sha. Let's see how it goes. I know Father is angry. The way he's even looking at me like, are you for me or for the president? But anyway, and it was Father that said, young man, please, it wasn't me.
He's a young man now. He's a young man.
Yeah, 70,
He's a young man.
If he's still in politics and he's at the helm of affairs in this country, then and they've not asked him to step down and resign, then he's still a young man. And I want him to reason as one, as somebody who is a father, who is a statesman, who is somebody who is a very big part of our history as a country. He's been in the presidency before. He's been in the armed forces to know the state of the security problem we have right now. Yet, what we're having is something of a far cry from what should be, from somebody who is as experienced as him. I don't know how many people in Nigeria now that are as decorated as he is, both as a military officer and as a politician and an elder statesman. I don't know how many people are. And for him to act in such a way, I think it's really an excuse.
Maybe that's why he feels he also has an answer for this. I mean, how can Twitter delete his speech with all his decorations?
Well, take his word to Twitter, not to us.
He has
Exactly.
taken the word to Twitter by banning the Twitter man.
He didn't really take the word to Twitter because in the end, okay, let's just put it this way. You know, when they say when two giants are fighting, or when two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. In this case, Twitter is not even fighting with him. He is one elephant going to fight another elephant and putting the innocent grass at risk. Anyway, there's a lot to be said about this matter. We can keep going back and forth, but the thing remains that one, this is actually not even constitutionally
Yes.
acceptable. It violates our rights blatantly. He's literally telling us that shut up, you cannot talk, you don't matter in the grand scheme of things.
We matter.
We do. President Buhari and the presidency, as Lai Mohammed and Garba keep saying. They say you are the presidency. When the president speaks, the presidency also speaks. Please listen to us because we put you there. Secondly, it takes a lot of things away from people. Information, it takes jobs, it takes fun, it takes stress relief, it takes communication from a lot of people, and it also takes the ability to be able to aggregate opinions and form them from a lot of people. So please and please, let's keep it on. Let's keep it on.
It is the human thing to do. It is the human thing to do. I think it's only right that we give people an enabling environment to be human. Thank you.